practice the ternary operator, whether you've learned it before or not. I've written some very basic JavaScript here. We just have a variable called isGoing. At this point,
So guys, today we are going to continue with the stuff that we left off from yesterday with our meme generators. And yeah, let's do this. Let's see what is ternary. Oh, it's basically conditional operators. Easy. True, false, and yeah, pretty much. Return name. So is the
helpful for
question
us to
marks.
practice the ternary operator, whether you've learned it before or not. I've written some very basic JavaScript here. We just have a variable called isGoingOut that is set to the Boolean true, and then we are using that value to determine what the answer should be that we display in our H1 over on the page. Obviously, if isGoingOut is true, then we'll say yes, and otherwise we'll say no. If it's been a while since you've worked with the ternary or you never really fully grasped it, I've included a link here to the MDN docs on how to use the ternary operator. So once you feel prepared, pause the screencast and see if you can clean up our code using a ternary.
Alright, so if okay, so we just return get free as members, return get fees true. So it's a true or false, right? True, false, true, false. No is a false value. It's a false boolean. So get free, true. So this is true, this is false. So easy. Let's remove all of this. Use ternary here. Replace the if else below with ternary to determine the text that should display on the page. Alright, return. Return, and then we do answer. Sounds like a date. Do you feel like going out tonight? Nah, man. Feel like a date? If yes is yes, if true is yes, and if false is no. Alright.
So manage, and we'll use answer equal to yes.
Okay. Instead of return, we just put it up here with our stuff, equal.
The string yes. Otherwise, this is my else. I'll say I want answer to equal no. I can get rid of all this down here. And I've been able to clean up my code from before to a single line. And if you're not terribly familiar with ternaries, the more you see this, the more natural it's going to seem. This is actually a really easy thing for me to read now because I've seen it so many times.
Alright, so it's going out equal to true. Then true value is going to be yes, and false value is going to be no.
So I can hit save, and everything is working here. We can see if I flip this to false, hit save, then we get the answer no. I can simplify this ternary even further because isGoingOut is already a Boolean. I don't necessarily need to equate it equal to true. So I can simply say if isGoingOut, in other words, if this is true or a truthy value, then set answer equal to yes, otherwise set it equal to no. And of course, we get the same values. Switch this to true, no will change to yes. Awesome. Okay, let me tweak this challenge just a little bit. There's one more way that you will oftentimes see a ternary used in React, and that is when the ternary actually exists inside of our markup. If you remember, our curly braces allow us to put JavaScript, not just variables, but entire expressions directly inside of our JSX. So your challenge is to move the ternary inside of the h1 in the JSX, and as a hint, you will no longer need the answer variable at all. Pause the screencast and see if you can figure out a solution to this challenge.
So we just do return. And then this, and that. Is going out. Right, can we do that? Yes. False. No. Ooh la la. What if I do yes? Nothing, right? Because we need a true or false.
Used as the text of this h1, or if the
Oh,
string
we
no
can
should
put
be
it
used
right
as
there.
the text of this h1.
Got it.
So just like we had before, I can hit save, we get yes because our value is true, and if we switch it to false, we get our answer of no. Awesome, this sets us up perfectly to work on the next challenge where we will actually save this value in state and then flip it back and forth between true and false. And that's what...
Why we don't use, what is it called? Like Boolean switch? Like, if it is false, oh no, not that one.
we'll work on next. Similar to last time, we have the question, do I feel like going out tonight? I've hard-coded this time the answer yes, but you will want to change that in the challenge. So your challenge is to initialize some state for a variable called isGoingOut, and you will just begin it as a Boolean. You can choose true or false as the default, and then make it so that clicking anywhere in this div will flip that Boolean value from true to false or false to true. And then instead of a hard-coded yes, you should display yes if isGoingOut is true. Otherwise, it should display no. This rolls together the topics of the past few screencasts. So if you need to look back and remind yourself how everything works, that's completely okay. Pause the screencast and work on this challenge.
Oh, just do the same things. Make it so it click. Okay, so just a function. So h1 here is on click equal to. It feel a little bit like awkward when you click when you do a few function. Function here, let's call it handle click. So handle click is going to be a const. It's going out as booleans equal to true. Let's do this false. Flip the boolean value to true, false, true, false. State value. Okay. Supposed to be here is yes. Alright. Initialize state is going out as a boolean. Make it so clicking the state value, flip that boolean value from true to false and false to true. True. And the click event is going out. It's going to be display yes if it is going out is true. But so let's do an if. I feel like if is still way better, right? Return is going out. Is going out. Yes. No. Okay. Well, it's clicked. Click, then is release. Is going out. Return. It's going out to this. Yes. No. What the hell? Console.log. If else. There we go. Let's set it to true. Okay. Slash. Okay. So we do condition 1, return is going out. Comma 2, yes. If it's true, then yes. If it false, second line is going to be is going out. False. No. Isn't it like that? We have to use the commas.
To initialize some state, I will simply use react.useState. As a reminder, you could also decide to pull in useState as a separate method from the
useState. We have got useState. What we can do is const. And then this, right? On this is going out. To be honest, I'm not like a good remembers. I don't have a good memory. So set. Count.set. Oh yeah, it's a value and then a function. So set is going out equal react useState. There's 2 brackets. On click. And then we have is going out equal true.
As a reminder, you could also array back and we'll use is going out.
Okay, we need to put true in there. And then a function handle click. This is going to be return is going out true false.
out. And I will, by convention, use set is going out as my function name. Next, I need to make it so that this div, when it's clicked, will flip that value. There's a few different ways I could do this. In fact, I think I'll show you them. I'll set an on click here. And one way that you may see from time to time is somebody providing an arrow function directly inside of your on click. One benefit of this is that you can just declare it right here, and it is nice and concise, short and sweet. In fact, I'll start going down this path, and then I'll probably change to move this function into its own defined function outside of my return. But let's go down this road for a second. When a click on this div happens, I want to run this whole function, and the main thing I want this to do is to use set is going out. And now I need to think, do I need the old value of state to determine the new value? And yes, in this case I do. I need to know if it used to be true, then I want it to be false. If it used to be false, I want it to be true. Now think to yourself, when I need to use the old state, what do I need to provide?
We need to use a previous. Set is going out to be this prev, and then previous state. There we go. Use state, use state prev count. And then if prev question mark true, yes. If it's true, then yes. If it's false, then no. And then I need to flip. Let's say what? The hell?
As my parameter to my setter function here. If you said I need to provide another callback function, then you were right. And that's because this callback function will give me the previous version of state that will help me determine the new version of state. And now that I've typed that out, I can see that this is already a little bit crazy. I have an arrow function calling this function, which takes a function as a parameter, and it becomes one too many levels of inception for me. So I'm going to move this to a function out here. Let's call it change mind. And it's going to run set is going out. And then I can replace this all with just change mind, which looks a lot more concise, and to me,
okay. The function called change mind, and then we do change mind, and then we do set is going out, and we call this, and then we have another function called prev, a callback function prev is true, yes. If true is yes, if false is no. Handling null event. Try this. What if I can print out prev? Ah shit. Change mine.
At least is a little simpler to read. With set is going out, I'll take my previous version of state. You can call this whatever, something more like an if statement that says if prev state was true, then set it to false, and if it was false, then set it to true. That's completely okay. This is another instance where a ternary might be useful. We could say if prev state is true, then return false, but otherwise return true. But all of that is a little bit unnecessary because I can simply say just return the opposite of what it currently is. Now, last but not least, I need to change what is actually displaying on my page. Now, if you struggled to get to this point, first of all, I'd recommend going back and reviewing what we've learned. Keep practicing until this first portion of what we just did makes sense. But before you do that, I'd also like to encourage you to pause the screencast and see if you can apply what we learned about ternaries and what our current value of is going out is to determine what we should replace.
And the opposite of prev. We can return this. And basically we just call this function again. Let's try change mine. Let's go, it's going out. Nothing. Return.
Similar to last time, we have of inception for me. It says if and what our current value of is going out is to determine what we should replace our yes with here. So if you weren't able to complete this far, then pause the screencast and try to figure out what we should put here in our H1.
What we can do is this, right? This is called the use state. Okay.
This is another instance where it was yes, then change it to no, and if it was no, then change it to yes. But personally, I like this separation, especially if I'm going to use variable names that start with is or has that indicate a Boolean, to just use a Boolean like true or false, and then translate that true or false Boolean value into something that makes a lot more sense for a user to actually see on the page. Again, if any part of this was overwhelming or too confusing, or you weren't able to do this from memory, then I highly recommend going back, reviewing this, trying to do this challenge again. Don't just push forward, but all in all, you are doing a great job. Whether you understood this or not, you've gotten very far. Also, don't forget to take breaks, stand up if you need to, go get a drink of water, and when you feel refreshed and ready, let's keep moving on.
Right, so
Similar to last time, we have the question, do I...
So basically, it's just a flip booleans in JavaScript. It's like equal, what is that called? What is that mark called? What is this? What is this mark called? Emphasis mark? Exclamation mark.
Hey, this looks
Forgot
familiar.
about that.
This is the little app that we used when we were learning about how saving local variables does not update our UI. And now that we've learned about state, to start us off, your challenge is to convert the code below to use an array that's held in state instead of what we currently have with our local variable here. You can just initialize the state as an array with these same two items. And if I were you, I would call the piece of state that you create things array, just like we had before, so we don't have to change anything else in our code here. Pause now and work on this challenge.
Alright, convert the code below to use an array held in a state instead of local variable. Convert the code below to use an array held in a state instead of local variable. Right, so let's say const things array, and then we do comma set things array, and then we can do react use state. Use state, and then we do things we will work on this next. Things 1. Let's just start at 1, right? Okay, and then what we do, initialize the state array, put the same two item below, and once commas, what happens? And then commas can do this, things to console.log things array, things 1, things 1. Okay, we'll work on this. Cons new things. X equal to completely the same thing array length plus 1. Thing array that push new thing text. Okay. What if we run this? Console.log thing array thing 1. Document that get element by ID. The same 2 items alone. This is hard.
A setter function that says set things.
Oh.
Set thing. The last piece we need to fix is
We need 2 array in it. Got it. That is why. One and thanks to. That's why it's not pushing. Let's call this thanks to. Right, console.log things array. Cons new things. Add items. Document get element by ID. Cons new things equal things. Things array dot length. So this 1 2 0 1. So length is 1 2 plus 1. Things array dot push. Sheet. Why is it in push?
making it so that our add item button will add something to our things array. However, the reason that I'm making this video is because there is a small gotcha in here, and that is that it's tempting to want to do something like things array dot push. However, I want you to think for a second, what is wrong with saying things array dot push?
It's a
If you remember back, we should never ever directly modify our state. In this case, our state is things array, and here I'm directly modifying it. Dot push is a destructive action. It modifies the original array, and therefore we would be changing things array ourselves, and this just isn't a good idea. In fact, not only is it not a good idea, but if I try to do it, let me put a test in here, hit save and add item, you can see that nothing is going to happen here. Okay, so we know we need to use
const new thing array equal thing array dot push okay. So we print out this. Let's see, nothing happens.
set things array in order to modify our state, which will actually update the user interface on our screen. So let's use set things array. And if you remember back with set things array or whatever setter function I have, I can provide one of two options here. Pause
Brief.
and think for a second, what are the two different options that I could put into the
Okay, const new things. This. Right, set things array. It's going to be push things array dot push previous option, right? Thing array dot push no, this is not. Dot push new things array. Right.
the set things array. To show you this is not real syntax, I could either put in a bare new value, completely replacing the old value of state with this new value, or I can provide it with a callback function, and that callback function would receive as its parameter the old version of state, which I can use to determine the new version of state. So now I want you to pause for a second and think, which of these options should I use? Should I use the new value option, or should I use the callback function option?
New value. I'll call back.
Well, if I just provided a new value, then I wouldn't really be able to add anything to my existing array. I would be simply replacing my existing array. Because what I want to do is add an item to provide a callback function here. Please say prev state if I wanted to. I'll keep it as prev things array to correctly array and just add thing space and then the new length of the array. So it should automatically, I'm going to not correct. This prev things array is still a reference to my existing state, and using dot push on it is not a good idea because that would be modifying state directly. Not only that, but dot push actually doesn't return the array that is modified. It returns the new length of the array. So this would be like replacing all of our state with a number, which would just be 3. So I guess in two ways, this really isn't going to work for us. Remember, I need to return a new version of state. and my state starts out as an array. In fact, my program expects things array to be an array because I'm using .map on it. So I need to make sure that when I'm setting a new array that I return a new array. This is a new version of state. Fortunately, with ES6, there's a really easy way for me to spread in my existing array, which I have access to with prev things array, which by itself would get me an array of everything that used to be in there. So this is not yet updating it. However, I can very simply add a new item to the end of my array. These are strings, but I'm going to be using some JavaScript to determine the array length. So I'll use some template strings here, and I'll say thing space, and then interpret some JavaScript by saying prev things array dot length.
What the
and
hell?
because that's the previous array and it's not 0 indexed, and I want this to say 3, I'm going to add 1 to it. In other words, my previous array was 2 items long, and I want it to say thing space 3, so I'm adding a 1 at the end. This is getting a little long, so I'm going to put this onto the next line, which means I then have to use a return. And well, let's just see if this works. I'll hit save, add item. Awesome, look at that. We've got things adding to our list with the correct numbers and everything. If you're feeling hazy or forgetting the array spread operator and how this works, that's totally okay. Although I would recommend that you go study up on the array spread operator because it's so useful. You're going to find yourself using it all the time, especially in React. However, this isn't the only way to do this. There certainly are other ways to make a copy of
Array spread. Some I don't know what happened with this. Is it like a bug? There's something wrong with MDN. Or is it my screen? No, I feel like that is the app.
of our original array, or to return a new array. We could even use a for loop that loops over this array and pushes those items to a brand new array. Then we add our string here at the very end before we return that whole new thing. Obviously, this is why I'm saying you should just go focus on learning the array spread operator because it's extremely useful. Okay, I do have one big challenge for you. Okay, it's time to put all the knowledge that you've learned lately together into this challenge. In fact, if you want an extra challenge, you could delete this line where we set up things elements where we're mapping. I figured because it's been a minute since we've looked at this, I wouldn't necessarily make you do this, but if you really want to challenge yourself, you can delete line 13 here and try to do everything completely from scratch. Like I said, I'll leave this here just in case that's a little too much to bite off at this time. So see if you can build this all again from scratch. Let me refresh this.
Let's do const things array, and then set things array, and then equal to React use state. And then comments things 1, things 2, things 1, things 2, and then add. First of all, what do we need? We need to use set things array. Prev state to dot brief state dot push, and here is a template string things, and then hash, what is it, like a things equal thing dot length things array dot length, and then +1. Alright, am I correct? Let's check. Let's run it first.
So this is not yet updated.
Brief. Oh, so we push it later. Okay. So we don't push it. Do commas. This.
I'm adding a 1 at the end. This is getting a little long, so I'm going to put this onto the next line.
So there's an array. What? The hell? So it's an array. Why there is a, oh, that is the so bracket should be this, and then brackets. Try and run this. Cross origin with throw. Brief array dot slash. What the? set things array. We have thing 1, thing 2. Pretty much the same, no? On click equal to add items.
Have to use a return. And well, let's just see if
Do I need a return here?
this works. I'll hit save. Add.
Set things array. Right, so previous state. So the array of previous state, so 1, 2. And then whenever the user click this, click add item, it's going to be initialize this as well.
Add item. Awesome. Look at that. We've got things adding to our list with the correct numbers and everything. If
What we will work on this next. Set things array. Alright, set things array. Let's try previous state of the including this. Why is it saying this? He has 3. Okay. Missing 1. What? Feels so shit. Why is it like this?
and we
Jesus.
add our string here at the very end before we return that whole new thing. Obviously, this is why I'm saying you should just go focus on learning the array spread operator because it's extremely useful. Okay, I do have one big challenge for you. Okay, it's time to
Previous things array. We'll need to return it. Oh shit. No fucking way. I got the wrong orientation. So open parentheses, here we have it, 1. Okay, so we have to close it. Close. And then set things array. Is it 1? This. Alright, what about now? I'm so fucking done. Set things array equal to brief this. Right, I need to forgot it. This part is so nobody would get this. Right, so we need a function. Okay, so this is a function. Here is one pair. Oh no, this, and this is here. And that is that. Dot. Brief. Commas. A previous array of the set things. Here's 1, 2. And then we do things. And then brief dot length plus 1. Brief dot length plus 1. They still say cross. I hate React so much. Yes. Let's copy the whole things. Have it here. So let's break it down. Add item. Yep, 1. Set things. Brief. Okay. Let's add return as well. Okay, this is the whole things. But then it doesn't work. What a joke.
we start from a new spot. Of course, this is broken because some of the values are missing. Pause the screencast and then item, which will run the set things array.
Let's see. Even that doesn't work. What if I remove anything? Still say it's broken. I don't know. Ridiculous. Let's copy the whole thing. Return function app. Let's run. When I run this work. Copy the whole things. Let's go back to our first page. Right. Now this works as well. Why is my code not working? Alright, let's deconstruct his code. Cons, things array, set array, react use state, everything match. Function add items. Okay, set things array, prev things array equal to this, return prev, same things, hashtag prev dot length +1, same hash, same template string, then close this. Why is it not working? Maybe because there's two. Let's do prev something, prev state. Maybe the keys. No, but the keys is run by things. Still the same. Copy this. Try this. Still say cross something. Fucking hell. But my code is exactly the same way. Set things array. Oh my god. No shit. No fucking way. Set things array. Add item. Set thing array, previous things array. Oh, so crappy. Is it like something that I'm cursed or what? Why am I cursed? function add items. Then run this code. This block right here. This block right here is going to be this. Previous things. Then this. Return. Why?
Scratch. Like I said, I'll leave this here just in case. Things array and set things array as the values I get back.
Why? Why is it keep saying React development something? Try it run. Try it run. What is this joke? Add item. Add items. Completely normal. Doesn't work. A cross origin error was thrown. Has not access. Blah blah blah. Shut up. Maybe because of this. You. Idiots. Idiots.
Back from react.useState. I'll initialize my values.
This is why I don't
1,
use S in my
2,
stuff.
and I need to spell things right. Then we will use set things
I'm
array.
done. Move on.
Using the
I don't
Google.
care about this.
We're going to see something similar, but working with objects in state instead of arrays in state. Now let's see what it looks like to use an object in state. Here we have a simple contact card. It's got a first name, last name, phone, email, and a property called isFavorite. To kick us off, I want you to see if you can figure out how you might fill in some of these values below instead of using the hard-coded values, using the properties from state. Of course, they will look exactly the same because I just copied and pasted these values from the state up above, but you can always test it by changing one of these values in state and seeing if it reflects on your card there. Pause the screencast and work on this challenge.
Fill in the value in the markup using the property of our state object above. Ignore isFavorite from now. Fill in the value in the markup. Fill in the values. Fill in the value using the properties of our state object above. Fill in the value in the markup. Huh?
Let's start with the name. We have the first name and last name together.
Oh, okay. So he want that. Don't even understand the question. So we need to go contact. Contact, and then this in object. Contact. Oh, set contact. What if I can do that? is a function. I'm so confused. Bound dispatch action. Oh, first name. I think this needs to be a function. Previous prev dot first name. No, guess not. Let's try and see what he do.
Inside the same h2, but they're separated in the state up here. The simplest way to do that is simply to put the first name in its own set of curly braces, put a space, and then the last name in its own set of curly braces. Now, because my state is an object, I need to reference the entire contact and then use the dot syntax to access its properties. So
I do the same things. Contact dot first name. Paste last name and then space. Okay.
So I will say contact dot first name and then the space, which will be interpreted as an actual space in the markup, followed by contact dot. And simply do the same thing for these other properties
Okay.
used. So your challenge is determining factor and determining factor as to which of those two images gets used. So your challenge is to use a ternary right here.
Okay. A star icon. Equal that. Use the ternary which star image file should be used based in the contact is favorite property. Ternary, so it's basically this star something like this, question mark, is favorite equal true contact dot is favorite. If it's true, then it's going to be this. Yes, and if it no, and then we need to flip it. So is this? It's like the opposite, right? Quite complex, eh?
Similar to last time, we
Toggle favorite. Okay. Const. Is light its favorite. Do I need to declare another function? Ooh. Set a favorite. Now we already have a state. We can access into here. Star icons is equal to is an image tag. But then I need to check for the state. This is like annoying. Start to feel like I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. It's going out, right? So count is going out. True. Set is going out. So I need to call this function. Set contact. Then if it previous prev state here and prev state prev state its favorite. Okay. Star icons. Where is it? Toggle favorite. The star icons equal star fill, star empty.
here in this line, I'll uncomment this now, to look at the contact.isFavorite property and determine which of the following file names should be used based on the value of the isFavorite property. Then you'll want to use that star icon value, which will just be a string here, to figure out what the source should be for the
Maybe we can do this. What if we do contact dot is favorite? If it's true, then we say we print in this. This. If it's false, then we print in this. Okay.
The star image. In fact, I'll add that to our challenge. Okay, best of luck. Pause the screencast, work on this part of the challenge.
And then we can do star icons. Oh no, we can do this. Can we do star icons? Star icons. What? Oh, this toggle like this. Can I put it here? No. Alright, so function when it's toggle set contact previous state is going to be the opposite of the last previous state. So it's not. So it's false right now. So switch back. Now I just needed to if previous state, and then I bring it into here. What about now? Nope. Contact. This is hard. What the hell?
On line 21, I'll replace this comment and we'll simply look at contact.isFavorite. I technically could equate this to true or false, but because it's already a Boolean, I just need to say contact.isFavorite. If so, I want to use the star filled.
We don't need this.
PNG. And otherwise, I want to use the star empty PNG. And now that I have a value for star icon, I can simply replace whatever is here with star icon. You'll notice I had put backticks here to begin with just to make things a little easier. That's because I knew you were going to be putting in an interpolated value like that. I'll go ahead and hit save. Everything looks the same, but now if I change my isFavorite from false to true in the hard-coded initial value, we get a little filled star.
Let me try. Okay, false. So now let's go back to previous state. What if I do can I return star icons? No. Set contact. Let's go into this previous state. Dot isFavorite. What about now? Why is it expecting this?
Now that we've learned how to apply state that's in the form of an object to our actual markup, in the next screencast, let's learn about how we can update state when state is an object.
Yeah, I didn't study that. That's my excuse.
Our goal is to be able to click the star icon and have it flip our isFavorite value from true to false or false to true. However, currently our isFavorite property is nested inside of this object. When I call setContact, I need to provide a new version of state to replace the old version. However, in our case, I don't want to replace any of this other information. I only want to change the isFavorite value. Many people's first thought is to use setContact, and here you'll see I already have set up a toggle favorite function, which is called anytime the little star icon image is clicked. Right now it's just console logging toggle favorite. The temptation is to use setContact, look at the previous contact information, and return, and I guess for simplicity I'll put this on its own line. We'll say return an object where the isFavorite property is the opposite of the previous contact's isFavorite property. However, there is a major problem with doing it this way. I'm not going to hit refresh yet, but I do want you to pause the screencast and see if you can figure out what mistake I have right here.
I'm going to remove everything. I tried that. It doesn't work.
Remember that in this callback function, whatever I return from that function will become the new replacement for our contact state. Currently, I have an object with 5 properties: first name, last name, phone, email, and isFavorite. But what I'm replacing it with is an object that only has one property, isFavorite. So if I hit save and then click our toggle favorite, you'll see that.
Oh. I know exactly why. There we go. Simple.
All of our other information just disappears. However, it does look like our star is working. I can click our star and it is correctly flipping back and forth, but obviously this is a bug. If you do happen to be coming to this course having had experience in class-based React, this might seem confusing to you. If you've never worked with class-based React, you can ignore the next thing I'm about to say. But in class-based React, when you use this.setState, it would automatically figure out how to combine your old object with the new property that you're trying to replace it with. However, using hooks with React.useState no longer does this. Okay, everybody can tune back in now. The main point is that I need to make sure that I bring in all of the properties of my old object and then replace the 1 or 2 or however many properties you need to replace in what you're trying to accomplish. A very simple way for me to do that is to spread in all of the properties of my old contact. And in this case, I have access to the old contact using prev contact. So I'll bring in all of the properties, and this, by the way, does include the isFavorite property, but then I will overwrite the isFavorite property with a new value. In effect, it's like taking this whole thing, copying it, pasting it in, just like this, where we have our old first name, old last name, old phone, old email, the old isFavorite, and then we're saying, actually, I want a different isFavorite. Believe it or not, this is not a syntax error. Instead, it just takes the second one that's declared, or rather the last one that's declared, and uses that as the actual value for our new object. This is much more verbose than it needs to be, so I will use my spread operator instead like I had before. I'll hit save. Notice this is filled in because my value is true by default. I should probably set that to false by default. And then when I click it, all of the other information stays the same except for the value of isFavorite, which is then redetermining which icon is going to be used based on that contact.isFavorite property.
Wow.
I totally understand that this can be complex. This was one of the more difficult things that I had to grasp when I was first learning how to do state in React. So to see if you were paying attention, this is your time to shine. Your challenge is to simply rebuild what we just had.
All right.
Again, if you get stuck and you don't...
We test our knowledge, our memory here, guys. So we do this and do pre-state. And then we have to run through all of it. And then let's try like the first one that we do. Pre-state that is like. Not if state is like. Is favorite. Can't say favorite. Right. Then what we need to do is that I think we need to put it into an array, right? Okay. And then we do brief state that is favorite equal right. And we do this, and we do dot. Is it contact? Brief state. Then declaration or statement expected. Oh, we have to return it. Oh, let's try it again. Set contact. I will need to practice this a lot. And then brief state. And go through this. And then what we need is a what is it called? An array object. Dot brief state. So we need to return it. And we do brief state. State dot is favorite. Right. Wasn't expecting this. Expect what? 18, 20. Oh, his favorite. This is pre-state dot is favorite. This is so hard. A little bit.
I had to grasp when I was first learning how to do state in React. So to see if you were paying attention, this is your time to shine. Your challenge is to simply rebuild what we just had. Again, if you get stuck...
What if I don't return this? I do this. And then I do this. Is it going to work? No, it's not. It has to be returned. So it has to be returned. Return this.
And see how I did it so that you can then come back to this point and type it out yourself. So pause the screencast and see if you can rebuild our talking set contact, but also because we want to make sure we to return a new object. And here's actually a quick aside. It might be tempting to say, well, I just want to use the implicit return and say, take this function, return an object. However, these curly braces are being interpreted as the opening part of the function body. If I do want to literally return an object, I need to surround my object with another set of parentheses. This looks a little bit crazy. Maybe just to show you that it works, I will leave it here, and for brevity, I suppose. So given our previous contact, I want to return an object that has all of the values of our previous contact, but changes the isFavorite value to the opposite of whatever it currently is. I'll hit save. It's empty by default because isFavorite is false, and I can toggle that on and off. I hope that challenge went well. If you felt like it was a struggle, then of course, as always, you can go back and try it again. As I've always said, the easiest way to learn something new is to do it the hard way. And I imagine some of you out there, when you saw me delete all of the code inside of here, maybe had a little panic moment and you thought, oh no, he's going to make me do this by myself. But your growth in understanding of React will only happen as you type this stuff out yourself. Watching me do it alone is not going to help you learn it. So as always, once you feel comfortable enough that you could write this out again all by yourself, that means that we're ready to move forward. When we last left the meme generator, we were getting a weird unknown error being thrown from React. I looked into it and I realized that it was because we were initializing state as an empty string and React was not taking too kindly to having our image source set as an empty string. So I just went and grabbed a placeholder image for now, and that seems to have gotten rid of the error. Just thought I'd give you a quick update on that error. Our challenge in this screencast is to update our state so that we can...
I don't know why, but my Git is not working. Open file. Git is not working. So at trophies, we got app.js. Wait. What? App headers. What happened? Huh? Huh. App. JS require true face form get okay export form, and then what happened here? I can just return a don't need logos. Import headers. What happened? From slash components slash headers, and then we do headers slash here, and we run no new terminal my app cd my apps, and then we do npm start. Wait, all of our style is not here anymore. I messed something up with my git, and now it's like okie dokie, we do it ourselves. Form. One parent elements, so we do the div copy this because I did the same things, probably the same things. Start a CSS. Let's change the name. Meme image. So we got the form, the app, two div here, and then a form from input. Alright, what we can do is we remove one of this. Right, meme image, form buttons, form input, add a project, add the title, and image. Right, go back to our file, add the image, it's going to be the logo. Jesus Christ. Add the logos, add the image. Good. Okay. Add the title. Add the title. and the project, call it description. Okay, and then form, the head is display flex, header image, class name header image. This should be header containers. Okay. Why is the image? It's a lot bigger. Image height 100%. Meme image. We have the form input, okay, form input is not working, form buttons, I call it get buttons. Okay. And then what do I need? Meme image, form button, grid, columns, form input. Yeah, that form. So that form is supposed to be form containers, input containers. Right, that's work. I don't know why, but the image is a little bit too big. Height 100%. Should be like that. Header image. Let's just code the img. That works. So class image. Let's do image. How about now? Still not working. Oh yeah, and I need the this here to go into the index HTML. I messed up with my Git, so it's broken. The app is broken. Now I'm just rebuilding it. So the face. img had the image. Do the same here. Height 100%. But it doesn't show. Height 100%. Header image. let's remove the header containers. Okay, it works now. It works. So what do we need to do in order to get the meme?
Can be well prepared as we learn more to save that state and ultimately finish our meme generator. So your challenge is to create an object in state. We'll call it meme, and it should have a property for the top text, bottom text, and the random image that we choose. You can default the top text and bottom text as empty strings, and I would default the random image to the string that I have below so that we don't.
So the header is done, the app is done, the CSS is done. Now we work on to the form. So this is going to have an onClick event with a, let's do get memes. And then right below our function, but on top of our return, it's going to be a function get memes. Exactly how it is like JavaScript.
Don't get that same error we had before. Next, I want you to create a separate state variable called allMemeImages. This allMemeImages variable is going to hold an array of all of our memes data, which for now you can default to the memes data array that we imported up here. Then lastly, you'll want to update the rest of our code to use these new state variables so that in the end we have a working app the way that it's currently working. So pause this.
Ah. It's just random. Alright, so what do we need? Update our state to save the meme related data as an object called meme. Top text, bottom text, random image. Top text, random text. Update our state to save the meme related data as an object. Is it like this? And what we have is top text, this, commas. Let's do top text is going to be top text. For now, I think we should hard code it in top text. This is what he means. Bottom text. Do bottom text. And then random image. This is URL. Commas. Okay. So the text state can default to empty string for now. Yep, empty string. It would be the value of this, but should default to this, right? Image should default to that. Next, create a new state variable called allMemeImage, which will default to memes data, which we imported above. create a new state. Create a new state variable. Const. Is it new state variable? This is to set the beam image. Now this will go through all our image, the image that we have. New state variable called all meme image. All meme image equal. This is meme status dot map, and then we have a meme, and then we loop through all of it with memes, which will default to meme data, which we imported. Is it like this? Lastly, update the get meme image function and the markup to reflect our new reform state object and array in the correct way. So let's break it down. So I'll click this. It set meme image. This will poop out of the what is it called? What is it? Array. It doesn't give you. Feel like when it's done, this is React doesn't show you, even trying to give you anything, and when it is an error. So we have to figure it out. So cons are meme image, meme data, which is here, and then we do map through all the meme data, get meme and meme length. Meme function is going to get the length of it. Here, dot things. All right, we got. Let's try and copy this. Key things. Key. This is img, so the source is going to be Well, I'll get
screencast
help.
and work on this
Yeah.
challenge. New state, our 3 properties. We have top text, which is
Okay, we have set meme image. Meme. Okay.
string, bottom text, also an empty string, and random image, which will be the same as what we had before in our old meme image state variable. Then we need another state variable, so we'll create a new one. We'll say this is all meme images, and we can say
So you want it to be not dot map, but you want it to be okay. Okay. Const all meme image or meme images, and then set all meme images equal react dot use state. It's an array, so it's going to be meme status. Okie dokie.
set all meme images as our function here. React.useState, and the initial value is going to be our memes data array that we imported above. With those set up, we really just need.
So you don't need it in an array since it is already an array. So array is not good. Let's try that. Yep, it's good. This doesn't matter. And then next, lastly, update the get meme image function and the mockup to reflect our new reform state object and array in the correct way. In the correct ways. Memes array dot data dot memes. Okay. Back here. And what do we need to do? Let me check this. Okay. Update the get meme image function and the markup to reflect our newly reformed state object. So meme status dot memes. No ideas.
Update the rest of our code. So anywhere I was directly accessing memes data,
Accessing meme data. we can do like a function memes array or meme image. I think we can delete that.
I'm now going to use all meme images. And then we have a bit of a gotcha here. Before, when we were just saving the meme image as a string, we were able to just completely overwrite whatever the old string was and replace it with the new URL. However, now the random image, which represents our new version of meme image, is nested inside of an object. So first of all, we need to use set meme instead of set meme image. And instead of what we had before, we do need to
so much meme. All meme image.
determine the new one because we have properties like top text and bottom text that we don't want to lose.
Okay, so we need to sub meme image, remove all this, and then we do set meme image function, please state this, and then return, and then this. And here we have brief state. We have an object again. Then we do brief brief state commas. Now we have it. And then random image, brief state dot random image. Random image is brief state random image.
I think I'm going to save this as its own variable. So I'll say URL equals the memes array at the index of random number.url just to make my life a little bit easier. And now I'm going to access the previous meme and return an object. I'll surround it in parentheses so I can use my implicit return. We'll pull in all of the properties of the previous meme, and then we will alter the random image property to be our URL.
Oh my god. Oi. So we copy this. Random image. Const URL. Copy it here. And then URL. Why is it error unknown?
Let's scroll down and see down here we have onClick get
image.
Meme image. That's still going to be the same because that's our self.
Right, all of it. Meme image. Meme image. Still the same. Meme image dot random image. Okay, that's good. Woo! Let's do this. Okay, on main and image. Since I don't have the API, let's wait until that. Yeah, pretty much. I don't have the API right now. So yeah, we would need to
However,
wait
here, instead
until we
of
got
meme
the API.
image, we want to say meme.randomImage. And let's cross our fingers. We'll hit refresh. I can click get a new meme image, and awesome, we're working just the way we were before. Obviously, our top text and our bottom text is not yet doing anything, but we're first going to have to learn about forms and inputs and how to save state, which will be happening later down the road. All right, awesome work. Let's keep moving forward. At this point, we've learned to use a number of really cool tools in React, like state
This
and
is
props.
so compact that it, like, you would not like remember. You can like remember like 10-15% of this, maybe 25, but I couldn't see like you will remember like 100% of it. So yeah, I don't know, like usually like by doing project you remember a lot of it, and then you would need to use a lot of it.
Now we get to start using those tools in creative ways and putting them together. Your challenge here is honestly pretty contrived. I can't think of a reason why you would actually want to do this, but for the sake of practice, I want you to create a new component named count, which will essentially replace these 3 lines of code. In other words, you'll create a new component named count, it will render this div with this h1, and in an effort to practice props, we're going to pass that new count component a prop that we'll just generically call number. The value of that prop number should be the value of our current count. I promise this isn't just busy work. We are building toward a point. Pause the screencast and work on this challenge.
Right, create a component named count. Component named count should receive a prop called numbers. Component named count.
Our current count. Props, we're going to pass that new count component for this div with this h1, and in an effort to practice props, we're going to pass that new count component a prop that we'll just generically call number. The value of that prop number should be the value of our current count. I promise this isn't just busy work. We are building toward a point. Pause the screencast and work on this challenge.
Well,
okay, I'm going to do this working backwards. So my div here, I'm going to cut this, but keep it in my clipboard so I can paste it later. And I'll render a component called count, which I obviously haven't yet created.
Oh, so that is what he wants. Okay. Got it. So let's go back here. So let's create a component. Yeah, let's skip that. Let's see.
The value of that, keep it in my clipboard so I can paste it later. And I'll render a component called count, which I obviously haven't yet created. We said we're going to pass to it a number prop, and I'm going to set that equal to the current value of my count up there. Now I need to import it if I'm going to use it here. Obviously it still doesn't exist, but we'll just pretend it does. So I'm going to import count from a file called count, and then I need to create that file and work over there. So I'm going to create count.js, import React from React, and I'll just spin up my basic component here called count. And I need to make sure that this is receiving props because I'm going to use that number prop. I'll have it return, and then I'm just going to paste that div that I had before. Okay, and now it doesn't have a count variable anywhere in here. Remember, before this was referencing the state value of count. but now I'm receiving it through props. So I can say props dot, and it's not props dot count because the prop we passed to it was called number, props dot number. I'll hit refresh, and you can see everything is working exactly the way it was before. Now, as I mentioned, this is pretty contrived. I can't imagine why you would care to put a count component in its own component that just displays a number, especially when it's only 3 lines of code, unless for some reason you are going to be reusing this component in different contexts around your application. Let me clean up this challenge, and then
Yeah,
we'll talk about why
I don't
I have you do
understand the
this.
reason
As I've
why.
mentioned, we've learned how to use props for a component to be able to receive values like we've done here. And we've learned state and how to have a component declare its own values that are intended to change and update the user interface when those changes happen. And now all we're doing is we're combining those two concepts. We are still initiating state inside of our app component, but then we're passing that state value down to a separate component called count, and it's receiving that value as props. Now we're going to see something cool that React does. Let me, inside of my app component, console log app component rendered. Anytime React creates an instance of our app component, which is happening here in index.js, it will run this function, and part of that function will console log app component rendered. Then we'll go ahead and do the exact same thing in the count component. And we'll change this to count component rendered. Now, before I hit refresh, as a reminder, the word rendered simply means that it placed the elements that React knew it needed to place on the screen. So when I say app component rendered, it means that it took the markup of our app component and it painted it to the screen, or it placed it on the screen. It created the DOM elements and the styles that it needed for it to display correctly on the screen. And you can see there's a sort of cascading effect here. Over in index.js, we render an app component. When we go to app, we see that it renders a count component, and it's doing that down the line. So it will first say app component rendered. I'll open the console and hit refresh. We see app component rendered and count component rendered. Now there's a really cool thing that React does for us, and that is whenever state changes, it will re-render the component where the state exists and any child components that may rely on state to be working correctly. And if you think about it, that makes sense. If I'm going to change my state from 0 to 1, I'm going to need my component here to re-render, which will then cause this count component to re-render, and it will pass the new value of count. And that way it can very quickly and seamlessly update what I see on the page just by re-rendering those components. We're not going to dive deep at this point into understanding exactly how React is re-rendering, which components it's re-rendering, and optimizing which components it's re-rendering. That's a topic for a more advanced course. But for now, it's a good experiment to have these console logs here and see that every single time we change our state, it's re-rendering the component in which the state is declared and any children components like our count component here that may or may not depend on the state value for count. Awesome. Now we've seen an example of a child component receiving a state value via props. Now we'll look at how a child component might be given access to make changes to its parent's state.
Honestly, I don't understand. This is like, I will need to rewatch this. I mean, like, if like he throwing like a little bit too much, a little bit too many like technical, like boom 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 boom, and it's hard for you to imagine.
Okay, here we are back at our little contact card with the favorite icon. Your challenge to start us off is to move the little star image, just this one little image element, into its own component, and maybe we'll just call it star. That'll be the name of the component. and it should receive a prop called isFilled that the star component will use to determine whether the icon should display the filled PNG or the empty PNG. Then inside of this component here, you'll need to import and render the new star component and make sure to pass the correct value of isFavorite, our contact.isFavorite, to that isFilled prop. At this point, it's not going to work the way it was before, where we could click it and flip it on and off. For now, in order to test it, you can simply change this value from false to true, and it should, if it's working correctly, display the filled in star when you change that to true. There's a few different moving pieces here, so this is a slightly more difficult challenge than the ones we've done up until now, but I know you'll be able to do it. Pause the screencast now and start working on this challenge.
Move the star image into its own components, right? Star image. So we have here, let's call this star. Right, let's copy this, which is this. Why is it not? Cannot do that, so yeah, let's do this. Star. And then I need to receive a prop called isFilled that is used to determine which icon will be displayed. isFilled, and pass in, call this let's go back to the last one. A little bit too much.
At this point, we've learned to use a number that may rely on state to...
Right, isFill is count. So isFill is going to be isFill is going to be image. I'll take an image. Yeah, and then we do create new file. I have to import it here. Star from /star. Alright, new file called star.js. Okay. Save this. On the count, I'm going to do the same here. Import React, export star. So this app is going to take, it should receive a prop called isFilled that is used to determine which color will be displayed. A prop. It should receive a prop called numbers. Blah blah blah. Prop called numbers. Prop called isFilled. Prop called isFilled is color. Call this isFilled. Okie dokie. That is used to determine which color, which icon will display. Import and render that component, passing the value of its favorite to the new is. Import and render that component. Okay, passing the value of its favorite. Okay, passing the value. Alright, let's return. Yeah, don't need this. Return div class. Alright, go back to our star. Okay. Source, image, star icon. No ideas. Alright, so the prop used to be
For this was referencing the state value of count.
state value of count, toggle favorite. Honestly,
The empty PNG component, which I have not yet created. I'll give it this is filled prop.
why? It's so contradicted.
And it will be the value of import this, and then we'll go and create it. So I'll import star from /.
Hello?
/star, and then I'll create that file star.js. Okay, and in this case, I need to make sure that I'm receiving props because I'm going to return and then this image element. I'm going to get to this on click in just a second, but for now, let's figure out our star icon. I'm going to just set star icon equal to, and then I'm just going to go take exactly what I had here and then make a slight change. Okay, now we don't have access to our contact state because we're not passing it down. However, we do have a replacement is filled, and that's part of props. So it's props.isFilled. And then this will determine which image should be used. Let me remove my onClick so I don't get an error. We'll hit refresh and see if we missed anything. Okay, awesome. Now my star is empty, and that's because this value is false. Let's test this by changing it to true. True, and the star is filled. Awesome. And at this point, I can remove this line because I'm not needing that anymore. And at this point, that leads us to the topic of this screencast, and that is, how do I make it so that I can change this value? Clicking it is not doing anything. The conundrum that we have is that we have a child component that's receiving the value of isFavorite through props, but it is not receiving the ability to change that state. So think for a second, how can I give my child component the ability to make changes to the state that lives inside the parent component, which is app? In fact, I want you to pause and try to think through a solution to this. You don't actually have to type it and try it out, but just try to think, how could I give my child component the ability to make changes to the state that lives in the parent? Remember, when we have a component that we create, in fact, I want you to pause and try to think through changes to the state that lives in the parent. The thought that you can just add a click event listener on your star component. So what if I just said on click equals toggle favorite? Let me hit refresh and click this, and you'll see, well, it's not quite working. Why do you think that this isn't enough for this to work? Remember, when we have a component that we created, a custom component that we created, all of the properties that we pass it are custom properties. So simply putting on click here doesn't magically register it as an event listener. The on click attribute needs to exist on native DOM elements like these ones that begin with lowercase letters. That's because these are what will actually get created into real DOM elements by React. However, star with a capital S is not a real DOM element. Instead, what's happening is React is looking at the star component and it's rendering this image. This image has the ability to receive an on-click event listener. So what I could do is still pass on-click here, but realize that on-click is just a custom prop that happens to be called the same name as the event listener. In fact, oftentimes this will be changed to handle click just to make it very obvious that it's not a native event listener. And then over in our star component, I can add a real on-click event listener and say the value of this on-click will be the function that comes from props.handleClick. In this case, my app component is passing this toggle favorite function to a child component and allowing that child component to run it whenever a certain event like the click event happens. However, it's important to note that the context in which the toggle favorite function exists is still here in the parent, which means that it can change the state that lives inside the parent. Let's hit refresh. We'll click our star and we see that we're back to working the way we thought. So as a recap, we created our toggle favorite function. We passed it to our custom component in a custom prop called handleClick. And then over in the star component, it's receiving props and it's registering a real event listener onClick whose functional value is the function that we received through props.handleClick. The ability to pass state setter functions like this one down to children components is especially crucial in React. And that's due to the fact that the way that React's hierarchy is set up when it passes data. And this is what we're going to talk about in the next lesson.